Hello, this demonstration is regarding how to make InDesign PDF presentations or presentations through InDesign that are active, or not hyperactive, but interactive. What we're going to do is we're going to create, I'm going to open InDesign here, we're going to create a presentation that we can email to somebody or use when we're trying to present something to a group of people through an overhead projector. These are great to email potential employers. So oftentimes they'll ask you for a PDF samples of your work. Sometimes they want just PDF files of a few things, but if you want to dress it up a little bit, PDF presentations oftentimes are a good way to go. So what we're going to do here is in InDesign we can, let me minimize something there, we can create a new document in this new document window. And instead of using a print document, which is pretty normally, we most always use that, we're going to choose in the intent field, we're going to choose web. And from there we can specify what how many pixels by how many pixels we would like to do our presentation. Today I'm going to do mine as 1024 by 768. Various sizes are for various viewing devices, but I'll just start here. You could break things down into columns if you wanted to try to align elements. I might go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a 6-column grid, and the margins are about a ½ inch. That's what 36 pixels is in this document. So I hit OK, and I'll have a horizontal format. These grid lines will not print. For your presentation, you want to design to the edge. If you have a background, the edge is the black line. These pink and purple lines indicate safety margins. Basically they're to really help you with placing images and text. If you don't want them to go to the edge and bleed off, you want to stop them at these margins. And these grid lines are great because we can organize our layouts in a way that they feel unified from page to page. So let's get started with maybe a background for this. I'm going to keep this simple. We're going to go to the Pages panel, and in order to put a background on all of the slides in this presentation, or all the pages in the document, we would want to do this on the master page. So you want to double click on the master page. Now it doesn't appear as if it looks much different than page 1, so it can fool you. So make sure the dark black area is behind the word A master and this is blue. Now I'm going to zoom out, which is Control or Command minus on a Mac, Control minus on a PC. And I'm going to choose a rectangle tool. Your toolbar may look long like this. I like mine in 2 columns so I can find things quicker. But I'm going to use the rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. And you can go past the cut edge if you'd like, or the edge of the page. Basically you want to make sure that you go from edge to edge, that you don't accidentally fall short of the edge because you don't want a white line in your presentation. Right now the fill is nothing and the stroke is black, so if I hit the flip button it will reverse that. Now I'm going to go to my Swatches panel, and I might want this black, but I might want it slightly black, so maybe an 85%. Now that is a tint. That doesn't mean that's going to be translucent or there's no opacity on that. A tint is not an opaque object. So my background is going to be 85% black. If I had other elements that were going to fall on every page, I would put it here on the master page. But for now, all of my elements will be on, each page will be different. With the exception of maybe I'm going to use a previous button or a next button. You can also create, while I'm here on the master, I might as well do that. You can also create a navigation bar, kind of like a website. But for now I'm just going to do the previous and next button. So over here, excuse me, my mouse is acting up. Over here, I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to grab my type tool. Let me make sure I'm not selected on this box. You can tell it was selected. Now I'm going to grab my type tool because I didn't want to turn that box into a type object. So now I'm going to draw a text box where the word previous is going to go. And I'm going to type in the word previous. Now you can see that you can't, well, you can barely see that word because it's black. So I'm going to highlight or triple click on that word. And I'm going to go to the Swatches panel and I'm going to make this white or paper. Now it seems odd because this is a web presentation and then there is no paper, but just think of that as white. Now this probably should be slightly enlarged. I'm holding down Shift, Command, and greater than. On a PC it would be Shift, Control, greater than. If you want it lessened in size, this is basically keeping the box the same size, but the type is increasing. Shift, Command, lesser than or on a Mac, or Shift, Control, lesser than on a PC. These will give you increase and decrease of type. I think I'll use maybe a sans serif typeface since I am reversing type out. Those serifs can be a little, they can start to fill in and start to sparkle a little bit, so I'm going to see what kind of type I have here. How about I'll do, there we go, Futura, the open type version. I got all sorts of choices there. So I might do an extra bold condensed. And now I need to center this within the box that it's in. So you can click on the upper area here. This is the control panel. You can align to center. And if you want to center this within the box, maybe you want to color the box a certain color. Or maybe you want to put a white stroke around the box. In fact, I'm going to go to strokes and do that. I want a stroke of 1 point. The color, however, needs to be, let me click on stroke. These are so tiny. Fill is here. When it's in front, it's affected. Stroke is there. When it's in the front, it's affected. So I want to stroke that with paper. It already did. Now, to center this text within the box vertically, you don't hit the return key. You don't use baseline shift. Some of you guys are familiar with baseline shift. Don't use that. What you do is you go to Object, Command or Control B, and you can simply tell it to align this centered. And if you hit the preview, you'll see it center. So that's the proper way to get your text aligned, you know, to push it down or center it or whatever. So there you go. So there's the word previous. And you know, if you want to make sure you're spelling something correct, I know things start to look weird after a while, you can go to Edit and turn on dynamic spelling. It won't change your words for you. I don't like to use autocorrect because it usually gives me the wrong thing. But dynamic spelling will underline words in question in red. Now, it looks, sometimes I look at a word, it looks weird, it looks like it's misspelled, but it's not. Now, I'm using my selection tool, which is the black arrow tool, and I've deselected. If you hit the W key, assuming you're not in a text box, you can preview what this looks like if it were to be a presentation now. So I'm thinking, well, you know, that looks good. When I hit Command or Control 0, I'm like, okay, that still looks okay. Now I'm going to hit the W key again, and I'm going to copy and paste this over here and put the word next. So to copy and paste, the quickest way is to hold down the Alt or Option key, and if I hold down the Shift key, it'll keep it in line. So Alt first, start clicking and dragging, and then hold down the Shift key. If you hold down, sometimes I have problems if I hold Alt and Shift at the same time, depending on what I'm on or what program I'm on. I can have some problems. Now, here I'm going to put in the word next. I grab my type tool, I triple click, and I just type in next. Now let's talk about kerning a little bit. You want your presentations to be professional. To kern type, let me discuss kerning. Kerning is a fine-tuned adjustment of spaces between letter pairs. So if you see a couple of letters, this one's not too bad, that appear as if they're farther apart than each other, you can kern them. The first defense in kerning is to first select the type with the type tool, and up here in the character control, this is the A. If you have the P selected, you won't be able to see this. That's paragraph controls. So character controls. You can go here. This is kerning. Right now it's metrics, which means it's mathematical. It's not optical. If you click on optical, you'll see that there are some fine-tune adjustments between the letters. Now, not every letter is going to have the same, or not every letter pair is going to have the same amount of space adjusted. I will do this also to the word next. And here we go optical. There we go. And if you find that there's still, after it's optical, if there's still a situation where it appears as if some space needs to be taken out because the computer can't see like we do, you can put your cursor between two letter pairs and you can make further adjustments by kerning down or up. So I'm going to have it tight but not touching. T's are really tough because they have overhangs. V's are really tough too. So sometimes I'll go in there and I'll kern it myself because they never had auto kerning when I was learning. So I tend to do my own kerning because sometimes I like it a little bit tighter. Okay, so now we have two buttons. These are still on the master page. They will occur on every page we create. And right now I could apply some, I can turn these into buttons. This is an interactive feature. So I'm going to click on the box that says previous. And now we're going to add some interactivity. I want to go to Window and Interactive. And what this needs to be in this case is a button. So I'm going to choose Buttons and Forms. What kind of button is this? Well, I just use button. And I want it to, when the mouse is clicked, when it's released on tap, let's see what happens there. And there's an action that I want, and what I want it to do is go to the previous page. Okay, so this should all look pretty good. Does this need to be printable? Well, it doesn't really matter. We don't, it really doesn't matter. There's also a preview spread button in this little SWF preview, but right now it won't work because there is no previous page and I'm on the master page. So there's that. I just created a button that goes to the previous page. Now, I want to click on, get rid of bookmarks there. I want to click on the next text box. I'm going to create a button again. On release or tap is fine. You can name them if you'd like. If you have lots of buttons going on, it's probably best to name them. But we're going to make this action go to the next page. And we could convert the thing to an object, but it's going to take the text out, I'm pretty sure. So let's just leave this the way it is. I'm just looking to see if there's anything that we need to change. As far as I know, this looks pretty good. So I'm going to close this, and I probably should save this document. So I'm going to save it to my folder. This is actually, let's just call it juicing presentation, because I'm actually got some images and text on some recipes for creating some juices. There we go. Now once you have everything that you need to do on this master page, you could create another master page if you have navigation bars and stuff like that and you're going to use them over again. But most of the time we're finished once we do just these couple little things on this. You can also see that it's showing us that if we click on it, there's our button. Now if I double click on page 1, I'm away from the master now. There's previous, there's next. Now let's just see how this interactivity will work. See if it does work. I am going to right click and insert pages within this pages panel. Let's say I just want to insert 3 more pages, so I'll have 4 pages total. It will be modeled after the master page A master, so they'll have those buttons on there. And now you can see, let me zoom out, which is Command or Control minus. Now you can see I have 4 pages. Now, the interactivity does not happen here while we're in designing. If I click on Previous or Next, nothing's going to happen. What happens is I want to view this, and this works some of the time as far as, oh, I just found this yesterday, the interactivity, being able to do the SWF preview, but we couldn't get it to work yesterday. Plus, if we try to preview it now, we won't be able to tell one page from another because nothing's different. So for now, we'll try to preview it a little bit later. Now on page 1, this would be my introduction page. I do have a Microsoft Word document that I've created that has text in it. Normally we don't copy and paste from Word, but this is just a short presentation. The title I haven't put here in my Word document, but you can see I have a couple of recipes for some juice. So instead of copy and pasting from Word, I will create my text box, and so click and drag where I want this text to go, and I'm going to type in just something simple, juice recipes. And you would normally, if you had a presentation, especially if you're going to send this out to somebody, put your name and your contact information a little bit, you know, just a little title. Now, right now, this type is black again. Now, let me show you something that's really kind of cool. The type in here is small. The bounding box is really huge. So if I take this bounding box and I make it small, the type is still there. In fact, let me make that type white. I am triple clicking in on it. I go to Swatches and I click on make sure the T is in front, the fill, and I click on paper. So you can see it's there, but if you move the bounding box to about the size of the type, if you hold on Shift and Command, on a PC this would be Shift and Control, then you click and drag that text box, you can kind of just intuitively design. You don't have to actually type in any point size or anything. Let me center this text. I'm also going to use Futura because I was using it before. Make sure I'm using the right one because there's a true type and there's an open type. So I always want to use the one with the O. I think I'll do again extra bold condensed. Now what's happened is my bounding box is too small, so I have to widen that out. Just make sure it's centered to your layout. And it's not, so I'm going to move that over. There are easier ways to center it. If I hold down the Shift key when I'm moving something, it'll stay in either horizontal or vertical placement. It won't go diagonal, so I just did that. And I would possibly continue to put some other title information here. Now, this being the title page, there shouldn't be a previous page to this. If we look, this is page 1. There is no previous page. So what we need to do is we need to delete this previous button. Now, if you click on it, nothing happens. What you want to do to unlock an item from a master page, or release it, it's really not locked, release it from the master page, is you hold down Shift, Command, and then you click. On a PC that would be Shift, Control, and click. Now it's editable and I can release it, and it's released and I can delete it. Okay. I also probably want to put a really nice image here. An intro page, you don't want it to be too boring. So to place images in InDesign, I would go to File and Place. And then I have to go find my files. And what I'm using here, I think it was, let's see, I can't remember. Let's just open that and we'll just plunk it in there. Now let me show you a problem. When I clicked to place it in there, it placed it inside of my dark gray background box. We really want to avoid this. We want this to be independent of this box and be able to move it around, because it released it from the master page, is kind of unlocked, and then I can't really do anything with it. And when I move it, background's gone. So I like to have things independent of one another. So I'm going to undo or Control or Command Z. Now, in order to not have this happen, I'm going to grab my selection tool. My cursor is no longer loaded because I switched up. I want to double click on the master page, and if I click on this big rectangle and I go to Object and I lock it, this will eliminate the problem of accidentally placing pictures inside of it. Now I need to go back to page 1. You can see there's a little lock icon that just tells me that object is locked. And now when I go to File and Place, I will grab my image and pop it in there. And it's completely independent of that background. Okay? So let me get this moved around here and get this to look pretty decent. And then we'll be ready to go to the next step. Now, if you, again, want to kind of preview what this is going to look like when it's working, make sure you're not in a text box and hit the W key. And this also helps me design because sometimes I can't see my balance, you know, if things are balancing out very well. So here's a way to kind of get away from looking at all those grids and it's so noisy. You need them, but sometimes you just don't want to see them, and move things around. But when you get it in place, hit the W again so you can continue working with the grid. Now I'm ready to move to page 1 and design it. There might be some introduction text or some other stuff, but you know, for a PDF presentation or PDF portfolio, you know, sometimes you just want to keep it simple. Now I do have some verbiage that I want to put in here, words. In particular, a recipe. I've typeset that in Microsoft Word. Here we'll open it and I'll show you. Now typically we do not copy and paste from Word. However, if you're new to this, I suppose you could do that. Copy and paste, I don't typically even try to cover that. But yes, it would be highlight what you want, go to Edit and Copy, and then go to InDesign, create a text box, and go to Edit and Paste. Okay, so that is actually not proper. So I want to try to teach you guys proper technique. I'll get this in where I can see it. And proper technique would be to place the text actually. Okay, so File, Place is really how we would do it. We would find our Word document, we would open it, and we would have what is called a loaded cursor. Give it a second, it'll come up. Now I can click and drag wherever I want that text to flow. So maybe I want it to go here. Now the problem with this is, one, I can't see all the text, and two, you can see that there are 2 recipes on here and I want 1 recipe per page. So first of all, before I do anything, let me put my cursor in here, double click on it so it turns into the type tool. I will select all, which is Control A or Command A. Control A on a PC, Command A on a Mac. And I'm going to fill this text color with paper. There we go, so we can see it. Now this text is awfully small. If you're doing an overhead presentation, the text needs to be large enough for people to see. Now if I know that I want more text on the next page, here is the More Text button. The Hey, there's more text here button. Now that's not the technical term for it, but just so you know what that is, that indicates that there is additional text, and you can click on it and you can go to the next page and then click and drag, and it will put the rest of that text into the next box. Now if you have lots and lots of text, you may have to do this a lot of times, and there's actually an automated feature for that, but I'll probably not discuss it here. Okay, so now we have the text, and we probably should dress it up a bit. I will copy and paste the headline, or cut and paste. To cut is Command X or Control X. Cutting is kind of nice. It saves a step. Instead of copying and then deleting and pasting, this copies and deletes, and then I can draw a separate text box somewhere else and then paste it. And then if you see that your cursor is floating below it, delete that extra space because it'll just give you problems. Now, just like the rest of the text, I wanted all of this to be Futura. You want to keep things, I mean, they don't all have to be Futura, but you want to keep things unified in some ways. So I'm going to go Futura, extra bold condense for my headline. Again, I hold down Shift and Command or Shift and Control, click and drag, and I have the ability to quickly increase that. And I then can, oh, you can see when I took that out, mean green juice from the previous page is popping in here. If you want to eliminate that problem, put your cursor before the item that goes to the next page, and you can insert what's called a page break. If I go to Type, Insert Break Character, Page Break, it will automatically flow to that next page, and no matter how much dragging I do on this box, or how much I move things around or take out of this box, that type will not come back to this page unless I delete that, unless I delete the page break. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select all this text, which is Command A. I'm going to go ahead and make it Futura. Let me just start typing in Futura. And I'm going to, we'll just leave it right now at what it is. Okay, now again, to increase type, I can click on it and hold down Shift, Command, or Shift Control, and the greater than arrow, which is the period key, and I can increase text so we can see it. Now it looks to me that there is some problem here. It's a special character. I may have to investigate my Word document to see what that is. Oh, the inch marks. Okay. Now let me zoom in, and I want to share with you this thing called Glyphs. It didn't recognize the inch mark from Microsoft Word to InDesign. So I'm going to delete that little thing. My cursor is still after the 2, and I do need the inch mark, but there's this thing called Glyphs. If I go to Type and Glyphs, you have all these special characters. So I need to scroll and find the inch marks. These shouldn't look like quotations. They should look flat. So in other words, they shouldn't have curves on them. So there's the inch marks. And then I also see we have a problem here because this fraction is huge. So I want to see if in Glyphs we actually have a fraction for 1/2. So I'm highlighting the 1/2 inch. I can delete it if you'd like. And then I double click on the 1/2 inch in the Glyphs panel. I have to put the spacebar in there, and there we go. So certain things don't translate well from one piece of software to another, and so I had to manage that, those little special characters, through Glyphs. Okay, now I don't have a picture here yet, but it sure would be nice. I think I might, let me see if I decrease this box what it looks like. Nah, that doesn't look very good. I think I'll go ahead and leave that as one long line. Maybe I'll put the picture right here. I might even break the grid. I hate doing this, or I might change the grid on these to be, instead of 6 columns, I might do 12 columns, so I can move this over and have it still work with a grid. Basically what I wanted to do is I want to move it right about there so I can have more room for a photo. But I really want to stick with a grid structure. So to change your grids, one thing I do is I go to Pages, I go to my master because I want this to affect all of the pages. I go to Layout, Margins, and Columns, and instead of 6 columns, I'm going to do 12. It's going to make your stuff look noisy and a little annoying, but it is helpful. Now when I double click on any of these pages, I'll have a 12-column grid. Now I hold down Shift and I can click on these 2 text boxes and they'll move together. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm putting that about there. Again, if I hit the W key, I can see if it's working out well or not. I might even move this just to break the grid a little bit, but so it lines up to that grid line. to give it a little bit of an indent. Okay, now I am going to place the image for this particular recipe. So I make sure nothing's selected. I go to File, Place, and I need to, there it is, oops, excuse me. I need to choose that image. I'm going to plunk it in there. I know, it looks delicious, doesn't it? And again, I'm using the grid to kind of keep things in line. And to resize this is the same thing as I used before in my type. I click on this box, I hold down Shift and Command, and I click and drag, and I can get this positioned where I want it. Now when I hit the W key, you can see, you know, does this layout look good? Do I need to work on some stuff? I don't think it looks all that great, so I might move the image up here, and then I might change how I deal with my ingredients, and get these stacked. So I'm going to play around with this. I just really don't like what it's doing. Let me pull this down. I might take this, since this is in a parentheses, I might go ahead and get this to the next line and then indent it just a little bit. So I'm going to go to the paragraph formatting controls, and here's your left indent. So I'm just going to indent that. Now it looks like everything's indenting. Not sure why everything's indenting. It should only be that one paragraph. So let me put the cursor here, hit return. Oh, no. Let's Command Z that and make the indent of 0. This is the first time I've had this happen. There we go. Maybe, I know I don't like to do this, but maybe I'll just use the space bar. I hate doing that. It's not proper formatting, but it's just what I'm going to have to do. Okay, now I could indent all of this. That would look nice. Oh, I don't know why it's not indenting just those paragraphs. Okay, so we're having some problems. Let me hit the W key. I know what those problems are, but I didn't really want to go into all this, but I need to now. Basically, this is all considered one paragraph, and I need to make sure they're not. So if I go to Type and I show hidden characters, you can see, let me back out of here, and again all these lines are kind of exciting here. This little hidden character is a soft return, not a hard return. A soft return means, hey, you're still part of this paragraph, you just moved to the next line. So I highlight that invisible character that's not even printable, I hit return. And I'm going to do the same here with each one of these, because these should not have been soft returns. I copied and pasted something from the internet, and when you do that, you just never know what kind of formatting is going to come with it. So again, I'm highlighting those little symbols that mean soft return, and I'm just hitting the return key because we want a hard return. Looks like we have an extra return there. I can delete that. That's the little symbol for insert page break, so that's what that little guy is. Let me make sure that we don't have any soft return, excuse me, over here by our parenthesis. We sure do. So you guys, we oftentimes get really confused with copy because we don't know why it's acting the way it is. And so when we go to Type and show hidden characters, and we understand what those hidden characters represent, then we have a better idea of how to manage them. And until you've been doing this for a while, you wouldn't know to do that. So I'm going to go back to Type, and I'm going to hide the hidden characters, and we'll see if this acts right now. So if I highlight these and I tell it to make it to indent to the left, now you can see, maybe I'll just do, I'll do 20 pixels. Now we can see that it's acting right. I'll do the same thing here, 20 pixels. All right. Now I'm going to hit the W key, making sure that I'm not in a text box, and I'm going to see what we have. Okay, this image, I really may have to crop it a little bit. Hit the W key again, pop that image in where I want it, crop a little bit of that kale out. I think it's understood. Let's crop a little bit of the carrots and the pear out. And you know, again, we really like to stick with the grid. I might reduce the size of that text since it's less significant. So again, to reduce text, it would be Shift and Command or Shift and Control, the comma or lesser than sign. There we go. Or greater than if you want it bigger. And let me get this to conform to the grid a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to hit the W key. And if I'm happy with that, I'll move on. I'm not so happy with a headline, so I am definitely going to break the grid there. And I might even make that bigger. So I'll conform and then I'll break. I'll conform and I'll break. So it's all, you know, about just making sure it looks aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't necessarily have to look mathematical or mathematically perfect. It's really about just providing a really nice sense of balance to the layout. Okay, now I'm not sure I enjoy this margin being more wide and this being more narrow, so I have to work with that. Alright, may have to pull this in, again breaking the grid just a bit. Let me move this Pages panel. And sometimes I'll look at things and I'll be like, I really don't like the balance of this. And I just start moving them around. Again, I have broken the grid. Again, we could try to conform to that grid a little bit better. Just for consistency's sake. Okay. So we have, to figure out where I want to put this, we have our juice recipe, we have our image, and we have a headline. And we kind of have a general plan of how we might want this to look. So now I go to the next page, and I do the same thing. Now that was a lot of work, getting all this formatted, and if you don't want to have to work too hard at that again, you could create what's called paragraph styles. There's also another one called character styles. Basically, you can take this formatting that we did and we can save this formatting. By the way, let me make the kerning optical. We can save this formatting so we can use it again on other headlines. So I'm going to go to paragraph styles. I'm going to create a new style. Let me pull this up so you can see it. The new style button. It says it's heading 1. That probably came over from Microsoft Word. I'm going to click on this new paragraph style. I'm going to call it recipe title. That way I can understand the difference between heading 1 and recipe title. Excuse me. And so now this is a recipe title. And for, let me grab all of this. Actually, these will be two different paragraph styles. These will be an indented paragraph style, and these will be just normal. So I'm going to just highlight this, which is the same as ingredients and directions, and I'm going to create another paragraph style. I'll call it paragraph style 1 again. I'm going to double click on it. If you double click this window will open. We didn't do that earlier. If I just click and wait, you can actually name it. And I'm going to call this body copy, excuse me, and then click off of it. And then we know that this is body copy right here. Excuse me. So I have 3 clicks. You want to click it and make sure you get that invisible character. We talked about that just a minute ago. Triple click, it's body copy. You don't want to make this body copy because what will happen is it'll take the left indent out. So let me show you what I mean. I say, oh, that looks like body copy. Oh, there goes that left indent. So this is the reason why this needs to be a separate paragraph style, because it has additional paragraph formatting. The paragraph formatting, which was found here in the paragraph icon, that's different is this left indent. So I need to create a separate paragraph style for that. So it goes and calls it paragraph style 1 again. And I'm going to call this indented body copy. Okay. And it's got a plus sign probably because of that glyph. I'm not sure. So I tell this is indented body copy. Now if I take off the plus sign, we'll see what happens. Oh, I know. It's this type right here. It was smaller. It was confused because I had made that smaller. It's different than the rest of what's in the paragraph, so that's why there's a plus sign. Now I'm going to grab this stuff, say that it's indented body copy, and now everything has a style. Recipe title has a style. This text here is styled in body copy. This is in indented body copy, and the reason why the plus sign is this little guy right here has additional formatting after we created a style, and the additional formatting was making it smaller. This is body copy, and you got to grab your invisibles, and this is indented body copy. Now, that can save you a lot of time, because now when we go to the next thing, all I have to do, let me make this text box a little bigger and show us, let's show the grid. This is just phenomenal what this these paragraph styles, how they save you time. So if I click on the first paragraph style and I say, hey, you're a recipe title, it just hurries up, it just quickly changes to what it's supposed to look like. If I highlight this text and tell it it's body copy, it is just so quick in changing to what it's supposed to look like. If I highlight this stuff that needs to be indented, I click on indented body copy. Then I click on the directions and the invisible that is there too, and that's body copy. And then here we have another indented body copy. That is just incredibly quick. I might go to type and show my hidden characters just to make sure I don't have any weird things going on. It looks like I do, and I need to delete whatever that is. There was a space bar and something else. And now you saw how quickly that just made light of some serious work. I might do the same thing here with this Australian Tuscan cabbage. I might hit the return key. I might make it smaller, like I made this stuff here, and that was the height on that was 18. So I need to make sure the type size or height is 18. It's really not the height; it's just the size. And I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to put my cursor in there and click in 3 times. Just to get it over there. And again, that's not proper. Usually we just do a left indent. Alright, so the rest of the text was websites and stuff that I need to extract out of here. But it's pretty cool how this is working out. Now, you could, I suppose, copy and paste in place this headline. So I edit, copy, I go to the next page, and here's what I want to do is I want to get this headline in the same position as the other one. So if I go to edit, paste in place, that's exactly the position that the previous recipe position was on. So I pasted the box. Now I can grab by 4 clicks this headline. I can cut it. I don't need it anymore. And I can triple click on this headline and then paste that recipe there. So it saves you some time. This, I don't know if I want to copy and paste in place, but this has, if you want to get in the exact same position, I suppose we could have used our master page to draw a text box, but you know, we're just kind of trying to design on the fly here. But if you had hundreds of pages, I would definitely consider copying and pasting these text boxes on the master page, but then delete all the headline information. But we know that this is aligned to this grid, but we don't know exactly what, where it is on the y-axis. So what I do is I put my cursor on it or I click on it with the selection tool, and I look up here in the y-axis, and it's 437 pixels down. So I can go to the next page, click on this, move it over to snap to the grid, and tell it that it's 436, I think, pixels down. Let me make sure. I'm always horrible with numbers. 437 pixels, excuse me. 437 pixels down. Oh, I think I grabbed the wrong one. Let's see here. Should be exactly identical to this. So 429 is x height, or is the x-axis, and 4 x-axes, and 437 is. Oh, I see why this is happening. this reference point is on its center. So this X and Y axes are referencing the center of that box. We really want it in the corner. That's why I couldn't get that to work. So I always am moving these around my reference points. Usually I'm in the upper left-hand corner because that's where we measure most everything. But sometimes you put them on the center and it can really mess you up if you're trying to get this to work. So really the y-axis on this is 176 pixels. So let me go down, click on this, put it back, snap to the grid, and then now I type 176 pixels. And now it will go exactly where it needs to go. I'm going to hit the W key, and that's what we have. Now we need to deal with some problems here, but we can't have this text running down into the buttons. But here's where we are. And I think what I'll do is I will break this down into a couple columns and insert this image. So that's the thing I'm going to do next.